everyone! Today I'm showing you how to make a floor for your dollhouse using popsicle sticks. This is a really nice and cheap method of making the floor, and it will result in a rustic looking wooden floor. You can then paint that, tea dye that, whatever you want to do with the result. All this takes is a little bit of time. Now, obviously, since we're using popsicle sticks, you need to get popsicle sticks. And here I have this pack of popsicle sticks that I bought from my local craft store. And these were really inexpensive. So check out your local craft stores for popsicle sticks. Now, obviously, because the popsicle sticks, they have rounded ends that you can see here. You need to make them non-rounded, which means that you need to take either a good pair of scissors or then a small saw and take out the ends so that you end up with, let me show you here, something like this, just like a straight line on both ends, by the way. And what you will also need is some cardstock. Now, you could always glue your popsicle stick straight onto the floor of your dollhouse, but the reason why I don't do that is that if I want to change the floors ever, it'll be much easier if they have been first glued onto a piece of cardstock that you can see here. So I like to do this. Find a piece of cardstock. I'm using here this color that is like a mustard green, and I really don't like the color. That's why I'm using it here. So good, because I'm not using it for any other crafting. And take measurements of the floor in your dollhouse that you want to make the floor for. Take measurements of that and cut that kind of a piece out of your cardboard. This is actually going to be, wait a minute. Yeah, this is going to be the kitchen. It has a little hole there. That's how I know, because that's where the stairs are going to be put upstairs. So yeah, so this is my kitchen actually here. And you might be wondering, okay, why are the ends here, why have they been painted white? And why are there all these stripes there, these pencil lines? Well, let me tell you. The reason why I painted this, the edges here white, is because my floor is going to be white. It's going to be a shabby chic, really shabby, worn white floor. And if I would leave it this color, then you could see the color underneath the popsicle sticks there. And I don't want to see any green color underneath my floor. So that's why I painted the edges white to cover this color. And then the lines here, well, these came from experience, because my first flooring, it didn't work. I just put my popsicle sticks in there nice, and I spent a lot of time putting them there. Excuse me, these are still rounded, but imagine they are not rounded. So I just kept on putting my popsicle sticks in there, a lot of popsicle sticks. It was a little smaller piece than this one, but anyway, I put all my popsicle sticks in there, and then I came to the end. And then I noticed that, wow, my popsicle sticks have actually started going off. They are not straight anymore. It means that they were like this. And then when I was trying to put the last rows here, it was impossible because it was going like this. And I tried to be as straight as I could, but it just didn't happen because the human eye just tends to do that. So that's why I have these lines here. They are sort of like a grid line for me to see that I am going straight. And these are straight lines. I've made sure of it with this. I have this ruler, which is a quilting ruler actually, but this is big enough for me to draw straight lines here. That's what I've done here to make sure that my lines, my popsicle sticks will be straight. So that's it. So anyway, let's get on to the actual making of the floor. Please note that in this tutorial I'm using a smaller piece because that is my bathroom piece that I'm making here. This is just for the introduction here, this bigger piece, but I'm actually working on a smaller piece here. But it's all the same. No matter how big your piece, you're still working in the same way. So let's get on to the tutorial. Alright, so we're ready to start gluing our boards in place. Now, before you glue anything on place, it's good to do a little fitting, because when you deal with items that have been hand cut or hand sewn, there's always the possibility that they are not perfect, that they are a little like lopsided, you know, not completely straight. And I know that happens to me quite a bit when I cut these popsicle sticks. That's why I always want to do a little bit of so like checking that they really fit together. So here I am putting a piece here, just checking that it goes in there. And here's another piece. They seem to fit together very nicely. So now that I have sort of done the fitting, I can start actually doing the gluing. I'm using just basic craft glue. Make sure that the glue that you use is good quality glue. Don't use any cheap glues. But basic craft glue should do here. Just make sure it's good quality. So what I'm doing here is I am putting a thin stripe of glue. That's actually a little bit too much glue here. We're probably going to end up with some glue spilling from underneath the piece here, but let's see what happens. I'm just going to place it in here like this. Make sure that it sits snugly against the previous one and press hard. And we do have some spillage over here, but I have always some toilet paper with me so that I can do whatever wiping I need to do here. Just this glue dries pretty fast, so I only need to press it down for a while. Now what might happen, and what probably happened to me, was I got, as I told you, some of the glue would be spilling from underneath the piece, and this is what happened. And all you need to do is just wipe that off if you don't plan to continue. Because if you plan to continue doing this, then that doesn't matter, because it's not completely dry by the time that you will be gluing something on there again. But if you intend to take a break or continue tomorrow, then don't leave that there, because it's going to dry up there and it's going to make it very hard for you to fit your next piece in there. So that's why I have some toilet paper. I'm just going to take that off. Okay, so there we have one piece. And I'm going to just try the other one. Yep, there it is. So then I'm just going to glue that one. And like I said, you really don't need a very thick stripe of glue here. And you don't also have to spread it all over the piece, because when you press it on, the glue will sort of spread by itself against the cardstock. I'm just placing it in there. Pressing a while to make sure that it stays there. There we go. Sometimes these popsicle sticks are a little warped, or your cardstock gets warped as more and more popsicle sticks are glued onto it. But the good thing about popsicle sticks is that they do take a little bit of like warping. You can warp them a little bit yourself. So if you have a warped popsicle stick, you can always try to warp it to the other direction. Obviously not with too much power, but just a little bit. Okay, so what I have here is 2 pieces glued on, and here would be the third piece, but it's too long. So now I have to do a little bit of sewing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fit it here snugly and draw a line there so that I know where I need to cut. Put this aside for a moment and take my sewing station on here. Now I have this miniature saw that I use to saw this, and this is a craft mat, and I put it there because that way I'm not sewing against the table, so it's easier to do the sewing. I always need to use a mask when I sew, a breathing mask, because this sawdust is really not good for my lungs. So let me do the sewing. It's very hard for me to sew this way here. Let me see if I can do it better. Because I need to get a certain position with my hand. Oops, still need to move it. Please stay with me. There we go. Let me take that. There we go. And I always move these far away from me, because like I said, my lungs do not like that sawdust. So let me take here's my flooring back. And I have as you can see, it didn't do a very good job there because I was kind of cramped in there since I was filming it. So I'm just gonna cut the rest, all that things off there with my scissors. And there, now it fits nicely. So let me just glue that on. So you need to do the sawing as you go here. Oop, look at that. I got some glue on me. Well, I'm a crafter. I'm always covered in glue. Okay, so I'm just placing it there and pushing for a while for it to stay there like that. Okay, so that's the basic way of making the flooring, but there is one little tip. Oops, sorry about that. Tonight seems to be a little bit of I don't know, I just can't seem to hold anything straight. So anyway, I want to show you a little tip in making this about the pattern, because as you can see, we have some cracks here, and these cracks, if you want to, you can design an elaborate pattern that the cracks form, but you cannot keep gluing these pieces right next to each other, so you cannot make every row the same, because look what happens. I'm just putting this next to each other. Let's imagine these are my rows. What would happen here? I would have a continuous crack line going all over here, and I don't know about you, but I haven't really seen floors like that, and that's why I didn't want that kind of thing. So how to prevent that is, first of all, you will start that way. So here's my first row, and as you can see, I've started the same way that I just did here, that you saw me do. But the second line is what actually creates the pattern. So first you do this. You start from one end, and then you just put these straight next to each other. But then the second row, you won't start here from the edge, but what you will do is you will take your piece and center it onto the crack that has just formed in the row that you glued. So here's my crack, and I'm going to center this in there, and then I'm going to glue that in there. Then I'm going to take another piece, and now I can glue this straight right next to this piece, because there's the other crack, and as you can see, that's also centered. So that leaves me smaller pieces here at the ends, and what I'm going to do with those is I'm just going to take these longer pieces, place them there, and take my pencil and do a mark there, and then saw the smaller pieces and glue them here. And after I've done this second row, I will again continue doing the basic row, so I can start from the edge. And then again I will do the next row the way that I just showed you. So centering the piece there. So that way you get this more varied pattern for your floor. Now let me continue doing this, and I will show you a ready-made floor once I have finished it. Here's my ready-made floor now. It has been drying overnight so that the glue is dry, and here it is. And it fits beautifully into my dollhouse here. and I'm going to glue it in there. But first, what I need to do, or what I want to do, is I want to paint this. Since this is a shabby chic dollhouse, I want to paint it white. And I'm going to do that with acrylic colors. I'm just going to paint all over this, and then I am going to take some sandpaper and sandpaper some of the paint away so that it looks really shabby and really worn. That's the look that I want from my dollhouse here. And when you glue it, make sure that you spread plenty of glue. Craft glue should be just fine on both sides. So both sides, I mean both the back side of the floor and the actual floor of your dollhouse. And make sure that you cover every area here. After you have done that, put some heavy weights on top of the newly glued floor. So when it's in there, put some heavy weights on that and leave them there for, I would say, at least 24 hours so that the glue really gets to dry. And after that, you can take the weights off and it should be fine. But if you take the weights off too early, the glue might still be wet and your floor may start warping. So definitely my suggestion is that you let it dry really well. And one more thing that I forgot to say about this type of flooring. If you want a modern, sleek house, then this probably isn't the best style that you can do, because this has cracks and it's not perfect by any means, because the popsicle sticks are not perfect. And they have been cut by me, you know, or by you in your floor. So they have been cut by hand, which means that they really are not perfect at all. But I like that style, and that's why I made this, because I like kind of rustic, homemade kind of stuff. So that's why I like this. But if you want a really sleek look, then you might want to go and see some dollhouse stores. They have very uniform flooring pieces that you can buy if you like that. But I like this style, and let me show you here on the top floor. Here is actually a floor that has been painted white. I'm not sure how well you can see this here, but it has been painted white and it has been sanded, and there's going to be a lot more white here. The curtains are not done there yet. I do have this little white whatever you call this here, and some hat boxes over there. I'm making the bed, or the bedding actually, as we speak. So yeah, so there is white flooring already ready-made, and this is going to look the same. Okay, so I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and you can always change anything you want to about the process of making this so that it fits you and your ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye!